it was funny because I had met you there. Then I go work on The Simpsons. Then I come back and I'm doing late night, and you would come by and do such funny things for me, which helped me out a lot and meant a lot to me. The crowd would go crazy. You would do...
Oh, when I would come on your show?
Yeah.
That was the highlight.
When you would come on my show, one of the first things you did, you weren't even a guest.
Yeah.
Is I'd be at my talk show desk, and then the phone would ring.
Yeah, man.
And you just heard this voice, and the audience didn't know who it was.
Right.
It's someone fucking with me, and no one could know what it was.
Right.
And then I start to figure out who it is, and the camera would go up the stairs and around the corner, and you'd be on a payphone.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd see the camera and do your Sandler, what do you call it?
A dibbity-hoo.
A dibbity-hoo. I love that you have this
the old
term for
dibbity-doo.
it. The old dibbity-doo. You go like, a dibbity-doo. And then you'd take off and run through the audience, and they would...
That was the best.
What I loved about moments like that is that it's just pure liquid joy. No one expected to see you. You're not there for any reason.
So it kind of got me that like... I mean, Saturday Night Live, I didn't get on all the time. I would have little hit and run things, but you would put me on enough where it would become a thing. Your crowd was kind of the youth. Mm-hmm. They were the younger crowd. Because SNL, I remember some older people, when they would see me in the beginning, would be like, who's this young idiot? Why am I watching him? But on your show, that was like perfect for me, for you, for all the young people. And I remember that and my albums back then were kind of the things.
When I would put me on, you asked me, and you were just getting started. You did your first album. You asked me to play.
Yeah, the principal,
the dean.
The dean, and the valedictorian.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, and you explained what the joke was. I'm like, all right, and we did it in like one take. It was just so, and then I didn't think anything about it, and then kids were yelling at me whenever I went. Yeah. The buffoon. Thing quoting and I was like, wait, what? Because it took me about a second to tape, and I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And
you were nice to do it because you just got the show.
Yeah, and well, I mean, no, I was happy to do it, but it's just funny to go back and look how everything. Because I remembered when you did your first film, and you were nervous. I remembered you were.
Like Billy Madison?
Yeah, it was Billy Madison, I think.
Yeah, sure.
You were nervous, and that's so. I bring these things up because I like people to know that even Adam Sandler was there. Yeah. Like everybody was there. Everybody has those moments, and it's when I bring up Chris, who I think is a genius, and I love him.
Yeah.
When I say it was when he first showed up, and I first met him, he wasn't fully formed yet because we're all. Jesus, I was not fully formed for a long time. It takes a while, and it's amazing to see it. But I remember you were nervous about it.
Terrified.
Yeah.
But you, I had probably told you this before, but when you got the show, when we found out you were hosting the show and taking, over for Letterman, right? Is that what it was? Mm-hmm. Letterman?
Yeah.
It was unanimous with our reaction. Everyone was like, oh, wow, yeah, that's great. There was nobody going, oh, shit, why come I didn't get that? Everybody, it was Conan's name, everybody just went, yeah, wow, that's perfect. What a great idea. But you never came across nervous. Like, I remember watching your first night. Mm-hmm. Who was the guest? It was Goodman?
It was Goodman was the first guest, and then Drew Barrymore.
Wow.
And then Tony Randall.
Right.
Came out like wearing like a tuxedo. Uh-huh. And then he and I sang Edelweiss.
Oh, wow.
We wanted to, on the first show, tell everybody this is the kind of show it's going to be.
Right.
So he and I sang Edelweiss, and they cut to the crowd, and there was a weeping Nazi. And we just wanted to tell everybody, like, this is what this show is going to be.
You were cool. I think we were all at Mohonk. What
you guys were at Mohonk. There was a retreat. Yeah. And you told me that you were watching with Farley.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody, and which made me very happy because I thought, well, he's there watching.
Oh, man. We were all pulling for you. All knew you were the best. And we were like, wow, it's official. You're that guy now.
It's so funny. It doesn't feel that way for the longest time.
You still feel like you're auditioning every night in the beginning.
Yeah, for a long time. But I remembered you had there were certain people, Robert Smigel, like we all knew you were really funny, but Robert Smigel immediately knew that you were fantastic. And the other person, this is really interesting, is Jim Downey is such a giant brain. And what's interesting is, remember Jim Downey sort of looking at you and saying, it's funny because you're doing like your take on a Jerry Lewis sometimes,
right.
But don't be fooled. I think he's smarter than any of us. Like that was his analysis, which I thought was very fascinating because people that took some of the buffoonery at face value didn't understand.
Yeah, sure.
That you're a really smart motherfucker. and
in my own way.
I mean, but you are. You've always been, and that was always the plan. Was always that okay? This is what I'm doing now, but then I'm going to start laying other stuff in. And actually, which I didn't even know at the time, but I would talk to you, and you would talk about serious acting, and you knew you could do it. You knew that was something you wanted to do,
right?
And you knew that like there's a time when I'm going to unveil that.
Yeah.
But you had your own sense of how this thing is going to unwind. And
I think I did that when I did the Wedding Singer.
Mm-hmm.
I probably was like, let me try not to be too goofy in this movie, just to maybe slowly ease into doing other stuff one day, you know. Mm-hmm. But I mean, of course, PTA. He's the one who put me in like a.
That's Paul Thomas Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson,
not the PTA committee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's the guy who helped me get into doing just a straight up serious movie. But in my head, I knew I could eventually handle something like that, and I should do something like that. I always, my family, when I first went to NYU acting, my grandmother was always like, "You're the next James Caan. You're the next James Caan." She always used to say that to me. So part of that line made me go, "Oh shit, I better do some real movies too one day, so my grandmother can accept this life." James Caan. I probably told you this, but I met James Caan when I was young. I was on the Paramount lot. Mm-hmm. I'm walking. I had an audition, and James Caan is with his buddies throwing a football around, and he had a black eye. And I was like, oh shit, he get a famous James Caan kind of fight or something. But he was shooting Misery, and he had the makeup on.
Oh, he had the makeup, right.
And so I was like, oh fuck, I didn't realize it until like a year later. I said, oh shit, that's why I had but I walked by him and I said, I gotta say something to James Caan, man. And so I did that douchebag kind of walk up to him, see everyone going, what the fuck? He's having fun. James Caan throwing a football. Why is this guy interrupting? And I said, hey, my grandmother said, I'm the next you. He goes, what? I said, my grandmother said, I'm the next you. And he goes, you don't want to be me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He was one of the, people talk about who are the coolest people ever in movies.
Was he on your show?
Oh yeah, James Caan was on the show, and what I remember is you could even when he was getting older, you could take a carpenter's level. Tell me if I'm right. You could take a carpenter's level and put it on his shoulder, and the bubble would go right to the middle. He had the craziest straight, and you can see it in The Godfather. Because there's a lot of scenes where Sonny's wearing like what was known or a wife beater T-shirt, but he's just got like the white strap on T-shirt, and look at his shoulders. His shoulders are just crazy.
He's got that ridge of fluff.
And then the fluff. A little bit of fluff there. He would keep little treats in there for later. He's got a little lifesavers and a Starburst. But no, I met him, and the times that I've met anyone, it's anyone from The Godfather, I lose my mind a little bit, and I can't believe it.
They all love him too.
They all love him.
All the Godfather guys would be, when you say his name, they go, oh, he just had a coolness about him, and he would fight anybody. He did have that go time kind of like if somebody says the wrong thing.
Oh no, no, he was very much about. He looked like a guy who would drop his sandwich and punch you if that was called for.
I had to do that.
Yeah, just effortlessly cool guy. But I get that way. I mean, I don't know if you got that way around Pacino, because I know you were. And I think I may have mentioned this when I was in a restaurant and he saw me. I'm just going to quickly say it again. It's worth it. But he was pointing, and it looked like he was pointing at me, but I couldn't accept that Al Pacino was pointing at me.
Right.
So I was doing the looking behind me thing that people do in bits and cartoons, and he kept pointing, and then I came over, and he's like, oh, Conan O'Brien. And then I'm so nervous, I just kept it real brief.
Right.
And I said, well, anyway, you take care. And I dashed off, and then I saw the person he was with the next day, and the person he was with said, I was like, where'd he go?
Oh.
He fled. He fled.
Man.
I'm like, because it's out. I can't handle it. I can't handle it.
That's so funny, man.
You know, I'm always that way. I don't want to bother these people.
I get
you said you were that way about McCartney.
McCartney, I ran past
what happened?
McCartney was at a restaurant the other night, and it's actually my friend's restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew he was coming. I was with my wife and her friends and my friends, and they were like, you've met McCartney, go say hello. I said, yeah, absolutely. And I got up, I saw a side shot of his head, he was eating, and I was like, hey, come on, man, just say hello. And then I saw Ringo was at the table too, and he looked up, and I went, I can't fucking handle it. And I just kept going, and I ran past him, and all my friends are like, what happened? And then my wife goes, go back in. You're going to never forgive yourself. Go. And I said, yeah, you're right. Went back in. Saw the side shot. He was talking to his wife, I think. I just fucking kept walking. faked the hand wash in the bathroom. Then I was like, what are you doing, man? Go fucking do this. Just say hello. This is
amazing. I love it. You're Adam Sandler.
The Adam Sandler did. And you know what else didn't help? Other people were watching Adam Sandler be nervous.
Oh, no.
And they were just going, is he going to fucking talk to McCartney or not? And I just bolted out and got
But you know, I get it, because someone like that, I think, he's been famous since about a year before I was born.
Right.
And when I say famous, like one of the four most famous faces in the world. And then, so you just think, you know.
Lunchbox in the house.
Yeah, there are people that I have no problem walking up to.
Yeah.
And sometimes I really give them attitude. Like, look, you're a C-lister at best, so I'm going to say hi. You know, I'm a real dick about it.
Obama.
Yeah. You were president. Now I'm president. Conan, that doesn't make sense. You've never been president? But anyway, I would not...
Athletes do that to me, some superstar athletes, where everybody says, go over, say hello. Oh, the worst was KG. I went to a Clipper game with Kevin Garnett, and after the game it was ending, he was on the Clippers. He knows them all. He's like, let's go back and say hi. I said, no, man, you go. He goes, come on, man. I go, no, I don't want to go in the locker room, man. He goes, come on, man, and blah, blah, blah. I go in there, just feeling so goofy. They're all, you know, the clothes are off. I'm in there just after a game, just there's no reason Adam Sandler's in the locker room. They're all hugging KG. I'm staring at him, giving some head nods, and then somehow it was me alone for a second. They spread out, and me and Kawhi was in there just kind of sitting there thinking about the game, and I'm just standing there, just me and Kawhi, and I'm just like, yeah, this is a bad moment for Kawhi. Didn't say nothing, just froze.
I was remembering I was just thinking about this because I think he was on TV last night, but it was Joe Buck came up to me. I was at a bar with a friend, and Joe Buck walks up to me, and he's with John Elway.
Yeah, that's cool.
But John Elway doesn't say anything, and Joe Buck is just like, oh, man, I always love coming on your show. And we were chatting, and John Elway isn't saying anything, and he isn't really making eye contact with me. And then Joe Buck says, well, anyway, I think our table's ready, but so great to see you. And I'm like, yeah, good to see you too. And he walks away, and John Elway is left standing, looking at me for 1 second, and he looks at me, and he goes, we're fans. And then walks away. And it was so clear to me he doesn't know who the fuck I am. And I respected him for it.
Yeah.